Ali Abdelaziz, owner and manager of Dominance MMA and the manager of many former world champions and champions alike in the UFC, in MMA. Lots of very good fighters fall under this guy's banner. The courts are now ordering this man to turn in any information regarding UFC negotiations. Yeah, that's right. This guy is under order by the courts to turn in any documents regarding this antitrust lawsuit that is going through the courts right now. Despite initially refusing to provide these records, the court rejected Dominance MMA's objection and ordered Ali Abdelaziz to comply with documenting production under set deadlines. This is getting absolutely wild. Ali Abdelaziz might just be fucking cooked here, boys. This might be the end of Dominance MMA. Ali Abdelaziz, the connections to everything. What's going on? We're going to get into it right freaking now. This is getting wild. Wild stuff here. Not only are they fixing fights potentially in the UFC, but we've also got corruption and collusion going on between the managers and between the UFC themselves, the fighters, everybody in between. My goodness, guys, this is absolutely insanity. Not only did Dominance MMA said they could not and would not provide these documents earlier this year, but now the court has said basically that you need to turn that shit in right now. No more excuses, no more biding your time. You need that to turn in right now. Get something before us right now. They've got nearly just over a month here to turn in everything that they can. And in short, Dominance MMA said this: we're too small, too busy, can't legally release this stuff. It's against this, and the other. The court said, too bad. We've got an antitrust lawsuit going on here. We need this information now. Everything that you have, text messages, emails, everything in between needs to come to us right now. We may just see the biggest MMA management group get absolutely and utterly exposed for their fraudulency and their corruption. Ali Abdelaziz has always been linked to some shady business, and this may be his undoing. This changes absolutely everything. This lawsuit isn't just about fighter pay. It may potentially expose if the UFC maintains control over fighters through their management. Absolutely blowing the doors off this guy. Ali Abdelaziz, president and founder of Dominance MMA. Ali has been managing top fighters for the past couple of decades now. He has a plethora of contacts throughout the industry and has formed some amazing relationships through his journey. If Ali isn't with his family or negotiating contracts, huh? Well, those negotiations are getting turned right over to the courts. You'll find him on the mats rolling with his clients. Not often do you see a manager on the mats, but Ali isn't your typical manager. Yeah, he isn't really your typical manager, is he? Doesn't seem like he really started doing anything in this business until, well, he just kind of fell into it. Absolutely ridiculous. But Ali isn't your typical manager like I just read. He can relate to his clients on a different level. You know how he can relate to them? He can get them all sorts of favorable matchups. He can get them all sorts of perks from the UFC because he's doing work for the UFC, in my opinion. It just all fits together perfectly. Of course, I'm just playing a character. This is all alleged, but come on. We can read between the lines. MMA fans for years have suspected this guy is basically just working for the UFC and willing to fuck over his fighters when he sees that he can get a leg up, which has given Dominance MMA a family-like culture. Oh yeah, they're a family because they're all part of the same privileged group. You see here, Khabib, Henry Cejudo, Kamaru Usman, Kayla Harrison, Justin Gaethje, Cody Garbrandt, lots of big-time MMA fighters, lots of big-time characters who have gotten some favorable matchups, who have stuck around in the rankings, even though they do not deserve to be there whatsoever. Of course, there's great fighters like Islam Makhachev, but Kelvin Gastelum's still kicking around, Gilbert Burns still kicking around at this age, at this ranking, such highly ranked. Frankie Udgar, the legend, of course. But Justin Gaethje, they're calling for a title shot. Justin Gaethje's going to retire if he doesn't get a title shot. Of course, Ali Abdelaziz would push his guys to be sitting in that sort of position. Kamaru Usman sitting right outside the top 5, in my opinion, or he should be. He's calling for a title shot, saying that he's going to have 2 more fights. He does not and will not get that chance because that just will not happen, should not happen. But Ali Abdelaziz, because he basically works for the UFC up to this point, we all know what's going to happen. Kamaru's going to get all the favorable matchups. Justin Gaethje's likely going to get that Ilia Topuria title shot when he absolutely does not deserve it. Not whatsoever. You go on a 1-fight win streak, you don't get a title shot. That's not how this works, Kamaru. That's not how this works, Justin. We don't run that way. But yet, somehow the UFC and Ali Abdelaziz, I mean, he's managing his fighters' accounts. He's running all their social medias. He's taking advantage of them. This guy is an absolute sleazeball, slimy, wormy character. Of course, he's got all that corruption, the ties to, you know, some certain events, early 2000s, we can get into that, but he's not the only one. There's a guy out there who's been taking a lot of flack out there from some of the online pundits, some of the fellow MMA Twitter users. Tiki Gosen, manager of Arsenal Sports Agency, best friends with Dana White. Yeah, that's right. These guys are tied at the hip. Ali Abdelaziz, Dana White, tied at the hip. These guys are friends. They're in bed together, maybe literally, maybe just figuratively. But you look at his clients, there's guys sitting on here. Of course, Chael Sonnen's going to defend Rajah Jackson a couple months ago. I mean, shout out to Rampage Jackson, Czech Congo. He's still kicking around at his age. TJ Dillashaw is able to get injured and still fight. Brian Ortega, Paulo Costa, Aljamain Sterling, Tracy Cortez. How is she getting such highly ranked fights, you might wonder? Oh my goodness, Yair Rodriguez used to be on here. Waldo Cortez Acosta this past weekend, they stopped a fight, restarted it. Ultimately, he got the justice he deserved, Waldo himself, but not Tiki, not the manager who he's getting paid for also getting a win there. Yeah, I think Tiki might have had something to do with that stoppage and then restarted that fight. Maybe I'm crazy. Call me crazy. Maybe it's just a conspiracy theory. But guys that have been sitting at the top of these rankings, Mackenzie Dern, 4-4 in her last 8 fights, get a title shot, and then she wins it, of course. No doubt there. But Paulo Costa, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, guys like that are sitting at the top of the rankings, doing absolutely nothing, staying so inactive that you can't keep up and pay attention to when exactly they're going to be fighting next. It's all this crazy mishmash of stuff, but the problem is Ali Abdelaziz has now been ordered by the courts to turn in documents. You guys let me know what you think about this. This is getting freaking crazy out there. All this stuff, all this corruption may be coming to a head. We might finally get some decent legislature in this sport. It may not be a joke any longer. This may actually move into the realm of being a legitimate sport, but I doubt that will ever happen. This sport is just not legitimate enough for any casual fans to truly enjoy. It's hard to get into. It's hard to break into as a hardcore, and that's just my opinion. And it's because of stuff like this and the corruption and the collusion that UFC, Ali Abdelaziz, they've got the betting scandal going on with Isaac Dogarian, James Krause. This could all be tied into the same sort of thing. We're all left wondering and waiting what's next for this. The days and weeks will roll on, and we'll find out more about this very, very soon. Again, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do the whole thing because I'll be sending this out after the live stream, but I'll see you next time.